For more than 30 years, Community Shelter Board has been leading a coordinated community effort to make sure everyone has a place to call home in Columbus and Franklin County. We bring together 16 partner agencies across Franklin County to work together as one cohesive system to address homelessness. We secure public and private sector resources to fund partner agency programs that serve 14,000 people per year. We drive a strategy that coordinates local efforts with state and federal agencies. We help make sure all public and private funding is focused on our community's most pressing needs, maximizing resources to achieve the best possible collective impact. Community Shelter Board is recognized as a national model for how we respond to homelessness. That model served our community well when COVID-19 hit. How do you keep some of the most vulnerable people in our community safe during a global pandemic? How do you stay home if you don't have a home? We mobilized quickly, partnering with hospitals and local public health officials to develop system-wide protocols on masking, symptom and temperature screening in every shelter, and pathways for testing, tracing, and treatment. We coordinated with partner agencies to bring 3 new facilities online to ensure social distancing in all shelters and assure that anyone who needed shelter would have immediate access. Our prevention efforts are working. So far, the infection rate in our homeless shelters is lower than the state average for the general population. To respond to those who are homeless and have been exposed to COVID-19, we coordinated the opening of isolation and quarantine shelters, complete with medical personnel, and provided access to these shelters to other organizations who had COVID-19 positive residents with nowhere else to turn. We're continuing to do what we do best, maximizing strong partnerships to find innovative solutions to serious community problems. But we must continue to secure vital funding streams to support this work. We're all in this together, working relentlessly until everyone has a place to call home.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are we all doing this morning? Well, this is one of the first cool days, and I say cool very lightly, that we've had in probably the last 2 weeks. So let's try it again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Who are all the early risers? My 5 a.m. club. Shameful. Shameful. I'm in the 5 a.m. club, so I'm good. I'm like 2 coffees in. So let's get busy. You ready? Good morning. My name is Shayla Favor, and it is my honor to be here with you all this morning. I want to thank you for joining us at the Community Shelter Board's Founders Awards. I am your host, Columbus City Council member Shayla Favor, and I'm so happy to be here with you all today.
Thank you, Council member. Welcome. Good morning, everyone, again. Let's start off by giving a moment of praise and shout out to our partners in our Community Shelter Board network. They're our heroes, and we really admire their hero hustle. The first ones, not a good clapper with my microphone in my hand. Our first ones we would like to shout out to are NetCare over there. They helped more than 9,000 people. Good job. 9,000 people calling the homeless hotline last year, helping them connect to shelter beds, but even better, helping them find better options in shelter. Dr. Brian Stroh and the NetCare team, will you please stand up? Thank you, everyone. All of your work.
So I think we got a little bit out of order, just a little bit, and before I get fired from my job.
We just do whatever we want up here.
I don't want to get fired.
You're
We're
in charge.
going to take a couple steps
You're in charge.
back. Okay. So we come together this morning in honor of some incredible individuals and organizations. One who we've just acknowledged, but they are committed to working on behalf of people without a place to call home, something that is very near and dear to my heart. And so today, before we continue to acknowledge our heroes, we want to give an especially grateful and a round of applause to have NBC4 with us here today because they continue to support the Community Shelter Board all year long. Their support for today's event as the media sponsor is extremely generous. So let's thank them with a very loud round of applause. Breakfast is being served, so we want you to continue to enjoy. And I'm going to just, pretend that Susan wasn't up here the whole time.
Here I am.
So she can continue on.
Why, thank you. Good morning.
This is all planned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning, Councilman Favor. Our next partner that we would like to introduce is Faith Mission. Last year, Faith Mission served more than 1,700 people, including helping rehouse 100 veterans. Will Lauren Wilson and the Faith Mission team please stand up, and let's give them some of our thanks. Thank
you. Next is Huckleberry House. Huckleberry House has worked to shelter 290 young people and stabilize more than 75 folks in transitional homes. Sonia Thiesing, that's my friend. Where is she at? Sonia. We want to thank you and the team at Huckleberry House. Thank you for all of the work that you continue to do on behalf of our young folks.
And now let's recognize, at least for me, my last one, but not for all of us. We have a lot more to come. YWCA Columbus. They sheltered more than 870 people last year and kept 100 women in permanent supportive housing. And I'd like to thank Sonia Todd and the entire YWCA Columbus team. Will you please stand? Thank you very much.
This has been an absolutely excellent way to begin our morning, don't you think?
I agree, absolutely, 100%.
Especially to those who wake up after 5 a.m. They're very well rested. So, if you all could please join me in welcoming the amazing leader of the Community Shelter Board, Michelle Heritage, the Executive Director of the Community Shelter Board.
All right, good morning. I am in the 5 a.m. club, so I am rocking right now, just so you know. I really want to start with a heartfelt thank you to NBC4. They help us both honor our roots and also recognize people whose compassion and commitment remind me of Community Shelter Board's founders. Now, I want to ask, and you will comply with this request, all CSB board members to please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Thanks for being here, and thank you for your incredible service to Community Shelter Board. To my partner agency colleagues, I want you to know that serving with you for the past nearly 13 years has been the greatest honor of my career. We've accomplished amazing impact together, but your work is awe-inspiring. You're in the trenches, day after day, night after night. You're working with people who've experienced some of the most incredible, worst hardships that we could possibly imagine. Literally holding space for people who don't often feel seen or heard. Witnessing your passion, commitment, your relentless advocacy and service has been my greatest joy. Now, to everybody else that's here today, to recognize my partner agency colleagues, please hear this. The greatest challenges for them lie ahead. They work in a rehousing system, not a homeless system. Their sole purpose, literally, is to rehouse people who don't have a place to call home. Between more people needing their services than ever and an affordable housing crisis, they're up against significant barriers to success. When they can't house as many people as quickly as they did just a few years ago, it isn't because they forgot what to do. It isn't because they're not brilliant. Believe me, they're brilliant. It's because we simply don't have enough housing. When they aren't able to rehouse a family, and that family begins to think of an emergency shelter as their home, or worse yet, when someone has given up hope to the point that they start calling the street their home, we as a community have failed. All of us. As I said, our greatest challenges lie ahead. But if anyone can rise to this challenge, anyone, it is this community. This community. Now more than ever, our partners are going to need broad support. Now more than ever, to realize success, we are going to have to work together more closely than ever. Please, stand with our partners. Bear witness to the weight of their work. Join them. Join them so that everyone can have a place to call home. Thank you. Thank you. And now let's take a moment to look back at the values and the vision that Mel, Nancy, and Bob, Community Shelter Board's founders, had so many years ago. Take a look.
She was the youngest of 5, 4 older brothers.
They had to really glom together as a family. Her dad died when she was 5, and so that left her the only girl, youngest of 5, in a depression in 1930.
So there was very little money, but no lack of fun.
She always had a magical way of bringing people together and having fun.
Making memories as a family was of the utmost importance to her.
So she took these skills she got in her nuclear family and I think added those to the sense of responsibility that Jeffries had had for many generations in Columbus.
She loved Columbus, so I think that was also a part of it. She really believed that it was a big enough city to have all of the things that a city should offer, but a small enough city where you could actually solve problems.
She credits the Junior League of Columbus and really the Junior League as a structure for being her teacher in that work.
I think that was really sort of the beginning of her realizing that she was smart and that there was power in numbers.
That leveraged her long-time, decade-long interest in the issues of mental health and homelessness.
I think it was until she started doing some of the work in the community that she realized how unlevel the playing field in the broader world was.
She was super proud of the Community Shelter Board. I was in school and kind of didn't realize what she was doing, but I did know that my mom went to more meetings than, other people's moms. So,
she was a first woman a lot of places, but if they thought they were getting a cream puff that they could influence, they got a ramrod spine with a great head.
I'm extremely proud of what she did and extremely proud of her as a role model.
I think she did an amazing job of empowering people to change what they can change where they are now, that you don't have to make huge changes to make a difference.
She brought that keen brain and a big heart to make a big difference here, and it does make me so proud.
He cared very, very much about family.
I have some very fond early memories of my dad going to Ohio State games. He was a huge Buckeye fan.
One of the things that he always thought was that it was so important to stay in touch, whether as a family or, and that translated into the community as well.
We were under orders, and I was a far roamer. I roamed far and wide, but I had to call home every Sunday because we had to stay in touch. You know, it just wasn't an option.
To be in touch with one another, to be supportive of one another. Oh, well, that was tremendously influenced by his family.
What inspired my dad was a feeling that all people should be treated with dignity, that those who were given advantages owed the community and people around them to give back.
So he became very interested in the Community Shelter Board, and it really became a passion of his.
He was a person that didn't sit on the sidelines, that made calls, that raised money, that got business people together.
Homelessness is a big problem, and it's not one that's going to easily go away.
He was somebody that absolutely treated everybody with great dignity and empathized with them as if, you know, they were a member of his own family.
I think that he always felt it was so important to get out and walk on the streets, or he bicycled around a lot, see what's going on.
To me, my dad's legacy is one of drawing people around him together to make his family, his community, and the world a better place.
I think that my dad really felt that you cannot be successful if the community around you is not also successful.
Mel was raised in a small town.
I think it's those beliefs and those values that happen in small towns, and that sense of taking care of one another and that we're responsible for each other.
This all fit in with Melvin's idea of a great city. It's kind of a Greek idea, isn't it? You know, a city on a hill.
He wanted Columbus to be a place where his children and grandchildren would want to come and live.
And it certainly didn't include people not having a place to sleep.
Nancy Jeffrey came to my dad and said, this is horrible. There's people sleeping on our streets, and we can't have that in our community. And I think my dad and Bob all agreed and just felt the responsibility to do what they could.
Anything that didn't measure up to his idea of what it would be like to live in a great town, he was going to do what he could to fix that.
He used to describe it as air conditioning, that good feeling that you would get when you knew that you were impacting someone else's life.
I once said to Mel, look, you can't do this on top of all the other. And he said, well, tell me who you think can. Together, we can do it.
He didn't see it as a burden or as a weight on him. He embraced it. And I think there is an opportunity for everybody in the community to do their own version of community work. It enriches your life.
We are incredibly grateful for their vision for our community. We're going to continue on with the shout outs. Community Housing Network has kept more than 600 people safely housed and healthily and permanent supportive housing last year. Samantha Schuler, Sam. We want to thank you and the team at the Community Housing Network. Will you all please stand? The whole team. The whole team. The whole team. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the podium a woman who needs no real introduction, Renee Shumate from American Electric Power. She also serves as the vice chair for Community Shelter Board, and she's here to present the Bob Lazarus Unsung Hero Award. Please welcome to the podium, Ms. Renee Shumate.
Good morning. I am not a 5 a.m. person. I'm not a 6 a.m. person, nor am I 7 or 8. So now that this is off script, but with COVID, I don't have to get up and get moving and be somewhere by 8 or 8:15. So this was tough, but I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to see all of your faces and sort of get back to some normalcy. Community Shelter Board is honoring Fred Reeser and Jordan's Crossing Resource Center with the 2022 Bob Lazarus Unsung Hero Award in recognition of expanding their meal services significantly during the pandemic and growing their programs in response to increased need. A family-powered effort, Jordan's Crossing is a unique source of triage support for people facing homelessness by providing meals, clothing, access to health services, jobs, transportation, and so much more. In a typical month, Jordan's Crossing provides 20,000 hot meals, refers 37 people to detox and treatment programs, and serves 12,000 people through a Choice Pantry program. Please take a look at this video.
There is no denying that Fred Reeser has a lot of compassion.
The bigger word than that to me is connection. The draw to feeding and housing and putting people in a better space comes with connection.
About 12 years ago, Fred lost his 21-year-old son Jordan in a car accident. A sudden, gut-wrenching, and devastating loss. The Reeser family turned to their faith to find a bigger purpose.
We wanted to make a difference, make that pain stand for something. And so we started feeding out of the back of a pickup truck at first.
Oh, the humble beginnings of Jordan's Crossing. A bagged lunch from Fred and a friendly ear.
Our business on the hilltop was divided by an alley, and we've seen a tremendous amount of homeless people going up and down the alley. I think that's where my first draw to all of that happened, was I got to be friends. Sorry.
It's when Fred talks about his friends, old and new, that the emotions overwhelm him. He doesn't see their addictions, their problems, as theirs alone.
You know, a lot of people are homeless, not because they don't have a home. We've set up system failures a lot of times, and we can improve on those, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Here is Jordan's Crossing Resource Center. 4 years ago, the Reesers moved into this brick and mortar on North Hague Avenue, where they minister to the homeless and addicted, giving them whatever they need to better their situation.
I'm going to give you a tent, but I want you to tell me why this is going to be the last time you have a tent. What about an apartment? What about growth that way? What about a job? What about some of these things? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hand you some provisions. I'm going to give you the opportunity to have a tent and help you even grow in that area, but let's make this the last one.
The center is a place to gather, have a meal, or even get medical treatment. On this day, Mount Carmel was on site with their mobile outreach van, helping a mom-to-be get prenatal care. Other days, they welcome Lower Lights Christian Health Center and Southeast Mental Health. Fred's team hands out nearly 1,000 units of Narcan every month, and if necessary, they help get people into rehab.
When we help someone get to treatment, all of a sudden, the other people from the camps come up and say, "Where'd Joe go?" "Well, he's on treatment. You didn't know about it?" "We sent him. He's going on. He's in a really cool place right now." You need to go join him.
And if you thought the demand for Jordan's Crossing was high before, add in a pandemic. As we now know, the COVID crisis led to more addiction, more job loss and financial strife, more people needing help.
We went from feeding, 3 to 4 to 500 to over 1,000 people sometimes a day. We have no reverse gear here. There isn't any reverse gear. We're constantly moving forward. We're constantly gaining traction.
So Jordan's Crossing doubled down on their efforts and today rely on more than 250 volunteers to help anyone who walks through these doors. They hand out around 800 sack lunches and 200 hot meals every day. 400 bags of groceries get passed out weekly. And on Friday nights, they offer a community sit-down meal. They eat, they talk, and they always hope for more for their friends.
I'm going to provide you with some education. I'm going to provide you with a job. I'm going to give you the opportunities that you probably haven't had before. I'm going to help you find your kids a way to get to school. Let us work in those areas so we can all improve. Because the thing, I'm a little bit selfish. When I see somebody grow like that, it does. It gets the dopamine in me just roaring.
Turns out that response is genetic. Fred's wife, Donna, who helped him create the center, is now a full-timer, as well as their daughter, Jennifer. She just opened a free store on site. The Reesers are working on adding shower and laundry services for families later this year. And while Fred is being honored with the Unsung Hero Award, he knows that all of this wouldn't be possible without his family, his team.
Everybody has a part. Everybody has a unique way of dealing with their particular individual tasks that they have. And it's amazing.
And of course, his beautiful boy.
He would be really proud.
There is no
Fred, will you please join us on stage?
Let me do the photo. Let me do the photo. Iris, I'm in the middle.
And Fred, the podium is now yours.
Wow, if I can get through this. And what a great place to be, and I can't thank the Community Shelter Board enough for what you guys do. We get to see a lot of that, and we send a lot of people your way, and that's a tough situation that you guys have, and it's really nice at the end of the night when somebody comes in, we can just say, you just need to get down to the shelter. You need, and we'll help. And we have transportation that we can get them there. And so yeah, and then it gets into the housing piece too, which is really wonderful. On the way here, to try to express what happens there in just a short period of time is a little bit tough. But so I asked my Lord, I said, I need you to give me something that's going to pop, and I need to let these people know what it is that over and above. That was pretty impressive. Thank you so much for that. But this morning, I wanted to make sure that the air conditioning was on, and that our guys have coffee. It is so cool. There's 15 or 20 people that get there way before I do, and they're just sitting there. That's their community. That's their opportunity to meet and socialize and fellowship, within themselves. And sometimes we'll have Bible studies with them, but this morning I get there and the Lord had a pop for me. I go in to open up the door, and we have a program called Cash for Trash. And it's something they come up with. I didn't. This is, we pay them to go out into communities and clean up. And so there was a guy, I haven't seen him like in maybe a year or so, and we're right on the railroad tracks. And I looked over there, and there's a guy with a big thing of trash picking up, and I've never seen this before. Well, the guy was, he's all tattooed up, and so I walked over and said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, he said, this is something you taught me about a year ago." He said, I don't want to paint anymore. I just want to go out and I want to clean. And the housing piece for him was that he had right down by the railroad tracks. I told the guys, I said, if you go in there and if you're just going to be there for a minute, just keep your place clean. So he's put up a little small shelter, and the railroad, he says, knows he's there, but because he goes through and he cleans up. See, if we just raise the temperature in this room 1 degree, just one, we can create steam, and we can create energy like a locomotive. We go from boiling water, and I get myself in boiling water all the time, but we can create steam. And it's just that one guy right there, and it's just somebody else seeing him. That's all it takes. They want to know. We've sent 3 people this week to treatment. They want to know where they went. They say, "Well, where did so-and-so go?" And he says, "Well, Bob's down, and he's in treatment. He went," and that's where I think we're going to help with that. That's where I think we're going to gather that 1 degree of temperature, and that one help of maybe just energy for him to move forward. Because we're all kind of creatures of nature, and we're all looking for that one opportunity to help our community. He was cleaning up on his own. He was there. He must have been one of those 4 o'clock guys, Thank you, and I cannot thank you enough. There's tons, and I could be up here for a half hour telling you all the people that are behind us and willing us on, but I do thank my Lord and Savior for giving us the opportunity to be here in front of you guys means a bunch. I can't tell you what this means. Thanks so much.
That was pretty incredible, correct? That was pretty incredible, correct? So 4 lessons amongst many. Ask and you shall receive. If you need a pop, ask for a pop. Not a soda pop, but a pop, right? I prayed for a pop this morning. You can get up at 8 a.m. and seize the day. There it is. There it is. It only takes one person, 1 degree, 1 opportunity to bring change into a community. And most importantly, is to never allow our pain to be the end of our story. To let our pain bring out the purpose that lies deep within all of us. Thank you so much for following that calling. So we're going to do a couple more shout outs with some more of our wonderful partner agencies in the Community Shelter Boards Network. Erica Clark Jones, my bathroom buddy. Where's my bathroom buddy? No, we were just chatting. We were just chatting. We weren't doing anything inappropriate. Erica, who are we recognizing?
All right. Well, good morning, Councilmember Favor, and as a proud member of the 5 a.m. Club, I enthusiastically recognize the Gladden Community House. They prevented homelessness for more than 4,000 people last year so that they could remain stably housed and not come into a homeless shelter. Nick Bankston and team from the Gladden Community House, please stand and thank you. I would also like to take this point of privilege and recognize the Equitas Health Team. Last year, they kept more than 100 people living with HIV/AIDS safe and stable in supportive housing. With the Equitas Health Team, please stand and be recognized.
thank you to both organizations for the work that you do in our community, and also point of privilege. You know, I've heard about that guy, Nick Bankston. Heard he's trying to change things in Columbus. So happy that my colleague and also leader of an amazing organization is here with us today. Congratulations. Our next network partner is National Church Residences. Last year, National Church Residences kept more than 370 people safe and healthy in supportive housing, including more than 80 veterans. Michelle Norris and the team from National Church Residences, can you please stand? We want to thank you for the work that you do. NCR? I'd also like to acknowledge Southeast Healthcare, who sheltered more than 1,000 men at Friends of the Homeless. Bill Lee and the team from Southeast Healthcare, will you please stand? John Carty from Safe Flight Auto Glass is the Vice Chair for Community Shelter Board. John, who are you recognizing?
I'm back here in the back.
Keep them guessing.
I'd like to recognize the Mary Haven team. Their street outreach program and team worked with more than 350 individuals living outside in the elements. They also provided shelter for 450 people who were homeless and intoxicated during the winter, literally saving lives. Oyama Garrison and the team from Mary Haven, please stand and be recognized. Great group of folks. I also want to recognize the YMCA of Central Ohio. They impacted more than 5,000 lives through their shelters, rapid rehousing, and permanent supportive housing programs. Sue Darby and the YMCA team, please stand and be recognized.
Our next network partner is Homeful. Last year, Homeful kept 950 people safe and healthy in supportive housing. The Homeful team couldn't be here with us today, but let's give a round of applause to all of them. Next up, we have the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army helped more than 700 people leave shelter and find stability in their own place to call home. Major Tricia Brennan and the team from the Salvation Army, will you please stand? It is now my pleasure to introduce my friend, the Honorable Erica Crawley, with the Franklin County Commissioners. And I always have to say this every time I introduce her. She is the first African-American woman to ever serve in this role. That within itself deserves a round of applause. We thank you for your leadership and your service to our community. Welcome to the stage. Okay. She asked me if the remarks were up here, and I said, oh, yeah, girl, they're up here. No, they're not.
But I got them. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All right, we should be up and awake, and if not, we can get more coffee here. But I am grateful, and it is an absolute privilege to help the Community Shelter Board honor Bo Chilton and Impact Community Action with the 2022 Nancy Jeffrey Advocate Award. As one of the leading human services organizations fighting poverty right here in Franklin County, Impact made a historic mark to help renters access emergency rental assistance during the COVID-19 pandemic. They served over 25,000 households and distributed more than $70 million to Columbus neighborhoods during the pandemic, preventing homelessness and preserving the safety net of shelters for those with no other options, our neighbors. Impact is on the front line, every day addressing the war on poverty, and it is dedicating to fighting poverty by providing hope-inspiring help and real opportunities for self-sufficiency. Please take a look at this video.
The first thing that I thought about was there's going to be a lot of people who are going to basically be unable to pay their rent and mortgage. And how are we going to step in to make sure that we don't have a tsunami of people flooding our shelter system?
That was March of 2020, the start of the pandemic. While many worried about their health and safety, Bo Chilton worried about the ones who may be left behind.
We're the designated community action agency for Franklin County. We serve people who are at 200% of the federal poverty level or less. We were declared essential services, and therefore we've stayed open the whole time. Our staff have been going full throttle the whole time, and so I cannot say enough about them.
As the CEO of Impact Community Action, he saw an uphill battle, yet immediately felt compelled to act.
But those were some tough times that we were facing, a lot of uncertainty about what was next, and rallying together with other partners, really trying to figure out how do we keep people safe in their homes, especially during this pandemic. And we know that in congregate settings such as shelters and jails and things of that nature, that it was spreading further and it was hitting the most vulnerable the hardest.
Impact Community Action offers workforce development courses, financial and computer literacy, and the most vital during the past 2 years, emergency services, help with rent and utilities.
I'll tell you, when the pandemic first started, it was very surreal because of the mass evictions that take place in Franklin County, which many people don't realize. We have the unfortunate designation of being one of the worst in the country for mass evictions per capita.
Eviction court had been moved to the convention center as people left and right were in danger of losing the roof over their heads.
We received an emergency rent assistance budget of about $300,000 and served 250 people in the year 2019. And since June of 2020 to present day, we've actually served over 40,000 people and distributed almost $100 million.
Charged with filling in the gap, the team at Impact acted early. They connected with others who could help before they even knew the true need.
Being early in that process with kind of putting our plan together and then making it known to our partners and to funders, then we started discovering that there were all of these additional dollars that would be coming down. And so we said, okay, we need to have a coordinated effort. That really led to us being part of the Housing Stabilization Coalition and us working collectively to address this issue systemically.
And that means helping people get the services they need to be self-sufficient so they don't end up on the streets or in an overcrowded shelter. And while Impact served more than 25,000 households during the pandemic, he knows the fight to end homelessness is only beginning.
Now it's time for us to refresh because we face new challenges.
Inflation, rising rent and utility costs, not having nearly enough affordable housing. Columbus is often regarded as one of the best places to work, live, and raise a family. But Chilton says we all have to act in order to protect that which we hold dear.
There's three kind of people in this world. Those who are in the game, those who are on the sidelines watching the game, and those who don't know the game's being played. Everyone has a role to play. We got to get in the game and be part of the solution.
Bo, welcome. Bo, come to the stage and receive your well-deserved award. The podium is yours.
Wow. Thank you to the Shelter Board and to the funders who make all of this possible. A special thank you to Nancy Jeffrey. I've heard of her, but I never really knew the story until I saw her daughters talking about what a powerful advocate she was. And so to receive this honor named after her, I am humbled. Let me give a special thank you to my staff and my board. Please stand. Let's acknowledge them. Thank you. You know, often as leaders, we're given the credit, but we could not do any of the work that we do without an incredible, dedicated staff who are true servant leaders. And I have the pleasure to help lead an organization full of servant leaders, and so I'm grateful for that opportunity. Michelle alluded to the challenges ahead, and we have tremendous challenges ahead. But I'm always excited by the energy and the people here in this community, because when things get difficult, I see how we rally together. I tell you, in 2020, everyone was talking about we're in this together. We're all in this together, and you could feel that spirit. You could feel that energy, and we need to renew that. We need to rededicate ourselves to that commitment to make Columbus the best place to live, work, and raise a family. We have tremendous challenges, but we also have some exciting opportunities. Bringing Intel here, seeing the way in which our community and our partners work collaboratively. That's what gives me hope. Seeing people like our fellow award winners, thank you for the work that you do. Thank you. I can see your passion and your purpose, and that's what it's going to take from each one of us coming together and doing those things. And you are the essence of the principle that I believe most, is that we have to be in partnership with the people that we serve. We say partnership over paternalism. If we're committed to that, working together as partners with the people that we serve, I have no doubt that this will be the best place to live, work, and raise a family. Thank you.
So I have the honor of working with Bo quite a bit as the chair of the Housing Committee and now Health and Human Services Committee. And this is off script, so don't fire me just yet. Bo truly embodies hands-on leadership. And it was referenced very quickly in the video, but in 2019, we brought an idea to Bo, the eviction prevention program. And it was $300,000 to provide legal service and eviction dollars to help folks who were battling eviction in our community. And we heard the number of folks that it was able to serve. Little did we know that the pandemic was on the rise. And soon as it hit our community, Bo stepped up, as well as his team, stepped up to the plate to work alongside in partnership with the city. We could not have been able to do this work the way in which we did it without impact in all of our partner agencies that are here today. But in particular for this specific conversation, getting those dollars out the door has been incredibly life-saving for many of our residents in our community. And I just want to thank you for the work that you continue to do. Not only are we doing that work with impact, I think about how you step in. We have created workforce development programs with impact. That is demonstrative of your leadership, and I just want to thank you and congratulate you on this amazing honor today. So, continuing on with our acknowledgments and shout outs. Sharice Thomas is here from the Columbus Chamber and also serves as the board secretary for Community Shelter Board. Sharice, who are you recognizing?
Well, I'm not part of your 5 a.m. club.
It's all right, guys. It's all right. It's all right.
Happening, unless we can get EC to get that 5:45 hip hop fitness class back. Then I'll join you. But I'm recognizing Home for Families. They prevented homelessness for more than 500 expectant mothers and rehoused more than 2,000 people who were in shelter. Beth Feltzer-Rice and her team, Home for Families, if you could please stand. so we can recognize you. Ah, there you are. Awesome work. I know you don't hear that often, and the hard work you do, awesome. So now I'd like to recognize Volunteers of America. They impacted more than 870 lives last year through the homelessness prevention, rapid rehousing, and permanent supportive housing programs. Will the team for Volunteers of America please stand? We thank you. And now back to you, Shayla.
Now, before you put the mic down,
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
you 6 a.m. or 7 a.m.?
Ooh, 6:30.
Okay. 6:30 is still good, you know? I can at least get 1 cup and a half in by that time. 2 cups if you get up at 5. All right. Next we have Lisa Cordes, President and CEO of the United Way of Central Ohio. She is also here to recognize an amazing organization. Who are you recognizing today?
Indeed, I am. Happy to be here and to recognize some of Community Shelter Board's newest partners that are doing homelessness prevention work. These partners in the Homelessness Prevention Network, who have not already been mentioned today, are Compass at Broad Street, Franklin County Self-Help Resource Center, Physicians Care Connection, Project Connect with Columbus City Schools, and St. Stephen's House. During the first year of the Homeless Prevention Network pilot project, 95% of families served did not become homeless. 95%. Will all the teams of the agencies that I just recognized stand so we can celebrate you?
Thank you so much, Lisa. You gonna answer the question as well?
I'm a little bit with Renee about getting out of the house. Like, I can get up early, but I'm not ready to get out of the house.
It's quite the trend at this table here. It's the trend over here. I want to take a moment just to thank all of our amazing partner organizations that have been recognized this morning. Please do me a favor, off script again, I probably will get fired. If you have been recognized this morning, leadership and staff, please stand. Leadership and staff, please stand. I got chills because oftentimes we only recognize the leaders, but it is the staff that is committed to this heart work. It is hard work, but it is heart work. And we need people who are committed to this fight, that are committed to battling homelessness in our community. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you to each and every one of you for the work that you choose to do, because you do not have to do this work. Thank you for the work that you do. So it is now my pleasure to welcome to the virtual podium, Zoom is back, Ken Freeman, Vice President and General Manager of NBC4, to present the Mel Schottenstein Leadership Award. And now we'll play a short video.
Good morning, I'm Ken Friedman, Vice President and General Manager of my favorite news channel, and hopefully yours, NBC4, where we're local for you and most accurate. I'm sorry I couldn't join you in person today, but I'm traveling to my son's wedding. Community Shelter Board is honoring Columbus Council President Shannon Hardin with the 2022 Mel Schottenstein Leadership Award. While Council President Hardin is so deserving of this recognition, I'm the one honored to be introducing Shannon at this event. Thank you to Michelle Heritage and the entire Community Shelter Board team for granting me this privilege. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the important work you do every day. In just this past year, you compassionately served some 15,000 of the most vulnerable men, women, and children in our community. Many, through no fault of their own, found themselves without a roof over their heads, struggling with housing insecurity. Thank you, Community Shelter Board. Each year, Community Shelter Board honors an individual who makes a significant positive difference with its Mel Schottenstein Leadership Award. This annual award is a legacy to Mel Schottenstein's deep and far-reaching commitment to people facing homelessness. Shannon Hardin is a son of Columbus. He not only grew up in Columbus, but he also grew up in City Hall. You see, his mom worked in Mayor Michael Coleman's administration. His schooling included Columbus's Afrocentric and Alternative High School before going to Atlanta to become a Morehouse man. He returned to Columbus to dedicate himself to public service. Those efforts distinguished him and opened the door for him to join Columbus City Council at the ripe old age of 28. Council President Hardin has demonstrated unwavering and enthusiastic support for solutions to homelessness since being appointed to the council. He championed nearly $5 million in funding to help CSB place crisis prevention and de-escalation specialists in every shelter and supportive housing location in response to a dramatic increase in crisis situations resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. Shannon lives by the adage, if it's not for all, it's not for us. His work as council president makes sure that those among us in the most difficult of circumstances are not forgotten. Please join me in congratulating Columbus Council President Shannon Hardin as this year's Mel Schottenstein Leadership Award honoree. Good morning.
So I have the honor of working alongside my friend, Council President Hardin, to support thoughtful solutions to homelessness and to support those who do this work every single day. Council President Hardin championed increased resources of more than $6 million for staff who work in homeless shelters as first responders to get them to a living wage and better retain these essential workers in this space. I also want to say, because I probably get on his nerves just a little bit, because I'm always talking about homelessness and housing, that he is always willing to have the hard conversations, that he also leads in a forward-thinking manner. He's also solution-based. He's an amazing leader who has an amazing future ahead of him. And it is my honor to be able to serve alongside him and serving the residents of Columbus, Ohio. Thank you for dedicating your life to this work and to this mission. Council President Shannon Hardin.
Good morning, everyone. Well, I am not necessarily in the 5 a.m. crew. I do have a 1-year-old, so sometimes I'm in the 2:30 a.m. and the 4:30 a.m. crew. But before I go any further, would you help me recognize the true folks that are in this room that are the 5 a.m. crew, the folks at the boathouse who served us all morning? You know, for me, when Michelle called me several months ago to tell me about this award, and even more so this morning, hearing about the work of Fred and Jordan Crossing, knowing intimately about the work of Bo and Impact in serving our community, sitting here as we acknowledge all the service providers around our city that are on the front line, it really takes a lot of courage to accept this award in my role, or maybe not courage, but maybe it's audacity, because I know that the true folks that are doing this work are you, each and every one of you. You're the folks that get up every day. You're the folks that have the proximity to the people that have the pain. And as Councilmember Favors says, that you turn that pain, or that connection to pain, into purpose and drive. And so the only way that I'm able to be up here and to accept this award, have the audacity to be up here and accept the award, is to see myself as a proxy for each and every one of you. So would you please give yourselves a round of applause this morning? To Michelle, thank you so much. To the CSB board, thank you so much. And to the staff, those service workers that work in our shelter system, a sincere thank you. The last 2 years have been the most difficult of our time in our community, serving those in need. And you have done it. You've done it with little pay. You've done it with longer hours. You've done it with more constraints on the way that you do the service, and you've done it so admirably. And on behalf of a grateful city, thank you so much. Not too long ago, my team put something in front of me that talked about really, it was a review of big cities and why their homelessness issues were so prevalent. And it really asked the question, what is the thing that stood out between, say, Seattle having higher homelessness rates versus Cleveland? And the review comes back to say that it's not higher numbers of mental illness, is not weather related or the climate in a certain community that indicates higher homelessness or issues. It's rent. And as Michelle said this morning, this is on all of us. The shelter system needs all of us. It needs all of us. And as we continue to grow and as we continue to expand, the issues of homelessness will only get worse if we don't first solve our housing issues. And that is on all of us. And so I stand here today as council president, as a partner in leading a community that has to lean into affordable housing, that has to lean into how do we continue to work upstream so that we don't continue to push more folks downstream into homelessness and into our shelter system. They cannot do it alone. It is on each and every one of us. And I know that since we are here this morning at 8 a.m., we're all committed to that cause. Thank you and God bless.
Well, if you don't feel inspired, as I do, you might need a little bit more coffee. Perhaps get up a little earlier. Thank you, Mike Brown, for that laugh. I needed that. No, seriously, are you inspired? Yes. Are you inspired to do this work? Yes. We've been joking all morning about being a 5 a.m. person, and the undertone of that joke, if you will, is that it doesn't matter if you're 2:30 a.m. or 12 noon, that this issue of homelessness and the lack of affordable housing in our community demands all of our attention. It deserves our dedication and our commitment. Columbus will continue to grow, but it is how we grow that truly matters. Will we grow equitably? Or will we become the next community where there are tent cities located right around the corner from one another, where our homeless shelters are busting at the seams, that are abutting high-rise apartments and condos? That's not Columbus. That's not us. And when we do come together, we can do amazing work. We're looking at it right across the street. That is Columbus coming together, working collectively to solve a problem. We can do this. We can do this. With these amazing leaders at the helm and this staff that is committed to this work, we can solve this problem in our community and be the first to do it in this country. I want to thank you for being here this morning, for sharing your morning with us. Hopefully we have not gone over too much. Michelle, are you coming back up? No. Well, it has been my pleasure to be your mistress of ceremonies this morning. I hope I've entertained you. Have a wonderful day.